Knock Knock is a short horror film on YouTube, or at least that's where I saw it. I saw it on YouTube. It's probably on other platforms, but it's directed by Kennikki Jones-Jones, and it's pretty twisted. So I wanted to go ahead and break it down here on Black People Horror and give it a BPH score and see what it is. So let's jump into it. Okay, it starts by some kids playing in the street. So you see some kids playing in the street, and then it cuts to these two ladies, which the one sitting down doing hair, she's the main character. And those two ladies are talking about how they feel sorry for these kids because, you know, they're poor, and the little girl's like, they don't even go to school no more, and shut your dumb ass up. That's what the white hair lady says to the kid. And these kids are treated so disrespectfully in this thing. But anyways, so the next thing that happens is you hear a voice from the next door neighbor of the kid's mom saying like, get your ass inside the house. And you see the kids looking all sad and going inside the house. But before they go in, the main character, she feels sorry for the kids, so she gives them like a little, I think it's like a bag of popcorn or something like that. And it's like, make sure you share with your brother type shit. And so once they go in, the main character goes into her house, and the lady and the little kid leave. But so the main character is by herself now, and she's in her house, and she can hear her next door neighbor and the kids in there playing hide and seek and having a good time, laughing and just having a good time. And then she also hears through the wall the little kid be like, hey mom, I'm hungry. And then the mom over there next door is like, oh, you think you're the only one hungry? You stupid ass, like, you know what I'm saying, making the kid feel so bad. So the main character here, she gets her spaghetti, and she was gonna put it for leftovers for herself, but she's like, nah, I want to give it to them. So she goes over to their house, and she leaves the spaghetti at the door, but she's about to knock, and then she doesn't knock, and she goes in, like, she doesn't go in, but she looks in the window, and when she sees in the window, she sees like the mom just having a fit, just banging on this freezer or something, just banging. And then the mom spots her, and she runs back into her house, and she's like, oh gosh, I made it. And so later that night, she can still hear the next door neighbors and everything going in. Like, their walls are super thin in this story. But either way, she hears the next door neighbor, and she goes and talks to the little one with knocking on the wall. So it's like 2 knocks for a yes, and knock, knock, knock for a goodbye and hello. And so she's talking to them, and she's like, all right, well, good night. And she tells them good night. And then when she goes to bed, she hears her next door neighbor yelling at the kids, and then it gets super violent over there, and she hears like a big old crash, and it's like silence. And so she's like, oh gosh, what happened? She's like, I'm gonna call the cops. She's so scared, and then she's like, oh my god, I don't know what happened, just tell me they're okay. And she's balled up in a corner, and then the lights go out. And she's like, what? And so she's looking around, she hears like noises in her house and shuffling. She walks upstairs, looking through her house, trying to figure out what this noise is. And then, you see ghosts. She doesn't see it, but she sees something, you know what I'm saying, and it catches her attention. But the camera shows ghosts there, so it's like, oh shit, you see these little ghost children running through her upstairs. And so the next thing you know is she's outside going into the neighbor's house. Like, she's knocking on the door, trying to go in there, and then she decides she's gonna go in, and it's unlocked, and she just walks in, and she was like walking past all this trash and junk, and then she sees a freezer, and she opens it up, and it's 2 children in the freezer. And then the whole movie gets crazy, or the whole film gets crazy from here, because it's like everything starts tying together, and you realize that she is actually the next door neighbor that she's been hearing the whole time. She's realizing it as well as she's flashing back. So basically, it's kind of like a mental disorder that she's had. She was trying her hardest to keep these 4 kids intact, but she was mentally crazy the whole time. And so now it's flashed back to the point where she actually killed her child. And this is freaking crazy. Crazy. So I don't want to give too much details away and how that ending went. I definitely described the ending, but you gotta watch it to really get the full effect. But I don't want to give it away scene by scene or detail by detail, because it's really worth watching it. So I would suggest you go watch it. But in the meantime, what we will do is give it a BPH score. And the BPH score that I gave Knock Knock is 24 out of 25. and we can go ahead and break it down and see why. So for the concept, I gave it a 5 out of 5 because that mental disorder, that was freaky. That was really crazy. The message, I also gave it a 5 out of 5 because I felt like it was speaking to people with mental disorders, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what the film was highlighting. Scare factor, okay, it was not for me because I'm scared about like ghosts and like really like crazy imaginative stuff, but this was not all the way to the peak, but it was very freaky. Like I said, it was twisted. So I'm gonna say 4 out of 5. Acting, definitely got a 5 out of 5. The acting was on point. Even the kid actors were pretty straight in this movie. And overall, I give it a 5 out of 5. So total, that gives this a BPH score of 24 out of 25. Make sure you like and subscribe for more Black People horror.